Hey guys, what's up? I'm glad you came right here and you're watching me. You know what I'm doing? I'm glad that I'm starting your very next chapter from organic chemistry of 12th section. And what this chapter is called, this is called biomolecules, right? So this is another chapter in sequence, after a mind that's going to be a hell of important for all of you. Biomolecules are macromolecules. The first thing, biomolecules are macromolecules. And we have 4 biomolecules in our body. One is carbohydrate, other is protein, third is fats or lipids, and the fourth one is nucleic acid, what we call it DNA or RNA. So these are the 4 molecules which are macromolecules, and they are collectively called biomolecules. And every living organism, doesn't matter you're talking about plants, animals, bacteria, virus, whatever you say, every living organism start their life, end their life with these 4 molecules. And study of these 4 molecules are called biochemistry. So we are doing biochemistry, but with the name biomolecules in your book. So I hope I made you go what biochemistry is: study of carbohydrates and protein, fats, and DNA, RNA also. So study of these 4 substances are collectively called biomolecules or biochemistry. But there are 2 more, like I said, hormones and vitamins. Remember, hormones and vitamins, these are 2 also chemical substances, but these are not macromolecules. Why? Because they are used in a very small concentration in our body. So that's why they are put out of this biomolecules league, but you can consider them. So let's start one by one and see what we have today, starting from it. The first thing, I'm having in my mind is to make you go, what is this biochemistry, right? So let's talk about the biochemistry. Biochemistry. So I'm going to make it very short so that you understand very well. So what this biochemistry is, like I said, study of macromolecules like the one we have, like protein, then we have carbohydrates, and then we have nucleic acid, and then you have fats and lipids, fats or lipids, right? So this is what biochemistry is. And what these are collectively called biomolecules. So what I'm writing here, back here, carbohydrates, protein, and that fat and lipid also, fats, lipids, and what I left, nucleic acid, your DNA and RNA. So these are collectively called, biomolecules. These are called biomolecules. And their study is called biochemistry. Now, apart from these 4, we also have to consider hormones. And vitamins, whatever you say. So these are also, the biomolecules. Now, since I have made you realize what biochemistry is, study of the chemical substances being utilized, being, somehow participating in our body. Doesn't matter, if it's from the plant, animal, or whatever category of living organism you consider. So study of these molecules is collectively called biochemistry, where it mainly involves 4 of these and 2 of them also, right? Why these are not biomolecules considered? Because they are used in very small amount in our body, right? Now we will be talking about the carbohydrates. So let's talk about the carbohydrates. So the first thing I'm taking you through is carbohydrate. Now the question is, carbohydrate, has 2 definitions. One, it's ancient one, and then you have modern. I'm comparing both of them at the same time. Modern. Now, ancient, definition says that carbohydrates are hydrates of carbon. These are called hydrates of carbon. Hydrates of carbon. What that mean? You have something like this, CxH2OY. So what it looks like, they are fixed number of carbon and a fixed number of water molecules. So ancient definition says that this word has nothing but carbon and hydrates. Hydrates refers to water. So what that means? CxH2OY. Now let's take example here. If you talk about glucose, and its formula is C6H12O6. Let's try to find out if this follow the formula or not. So this, this comes out to be C6H2O whole 6. So what that means? That glucose literally follow this ancient rule of defining carbohydrate, because glucose can be put into this formula where X is having 6 and Y is having 6 also. Let's talk about the second example. Let's take another very common, sucrose. So the sucrose has a formula H22O11. Now this looks also to be coming into the formula, and this is going to be C12 H2O11. So what that means? That this is obeying the ancient definition of carbohydrate. Now let's try to find out some other carbohydrate like rhamnose. I'm taking another carbohydrate whose name is rhamnose, and this rhamnose has a formula C6 that's H12 and O5, but this one doesn't seem to be following the formula. So this has like C6H2O whole 5, and 2 hydrogen will remain out there. So what that means? That this one doesn't follow the this rule where carbon is hydrated. That's why rhamnose is not satisfying the ancient concept of definition of carbohydrate. Why? Because this doesn't follow this particular formula. Another demerit I see is, you can see right over here. Just pay attention. You remember acetic acid, and its formula is CH3COOH. That's what acetic acid is, but if you put this into the formula, that's going to be 2 here, and H2O, that's going to be like twice, right? So what that means? That acetic acid is a compound. Just pay attention. This is really something important. Acetic acid is a compound which doesn't belong to carbohydrate, but it still follow the carbohydrates definition when you talk about this one, CxH2OY. So ultimately the ancient definition comes out to be nothing but a disaster. Why? Because it doesn't make all the carbohydrate fall into the same formula, and moreover some other chemicals which are not even carbohydrate, they are falling into the this particular lead. So that's the problem here. Now the question is, if ancient definition collapsed, then what's the modern definition? So let's talk about the modern one. So modern one says that carbohydrates are polyhydroxy aldehyde or ketones. What that means? That a carbohydrate has so many hydroxide group, and it has either aldehyde or it has ketone. Let's take example. If you take example for glucose, C6H12O6. I will tell you in the next lecture, or probably in the coming lecture, that it has 5 hydroxy group. It has 5 hydroxy group and 1 aldehyde group here. 1 aldehyde group, right? So this is what very important thing coming out to be. So it has 5 hydroxy group and 1 aldehyde group. You need to remember, right? Similarly, if you talk about the fructose. So let's talk about the fructose, and fructose formula is also the same way, C6H12 C6H12O6, and this one has actually 5 OH. It has 5 OH and one ketone group, right? So this is about the fructose, and then this is about the glucose. Now let me repeat back everything I just said. According to modern definition, why? Because the old has collapsed. Carbohydrates are nothing but these are polyhydroxyaldehyde with one ketone or with one aldehyde, which when you hydrolyze they produce simple unit containing these functional groups and all. So this is what modern definition. Let me repeat back. These are nothing but polyhydroxyaldehyde or polyhydroxy ketone, right? For example, in glucose there are 5 hydroxy, 1 aldehyde. In fructose there are 5 hydroxy and 1 ketone. So this is how. But how these are coming out to be, I'll explain you in all these in the next lecture. Another thing is that before I make you go through more about this topic, you just go and find out about one of the topic which I have done in the haloalkanes and haloarine, that what is optically active compound means to you, because these are coming in the later section, and they will be required in order to understand every part of the biomolecule, right? So I would wrap up this video here, and I'll say thanks for watching. Take care, and don't forget, if you haven't liked and subscribed it yet, do that please, because this is how you motivate me, and this is how you motivate anyone out there who is doing lots of effort to make things happen online, right? Take care. Goodbye.